Hello my friend, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ishe. If this is your first time seeing this beautiful face, please do not make it your last by clicking that subscribe button. On this channel, I help you on your journey of intentionally becoming her. So if you want to rebrand, level up, glow up, become your best self in this year and achieve all the goals that you set out for yourself, this is the place to be. So go ahead and click that subscribe button to join the friend squad. If you're a returning friend, I love you so much and thank you so much for coming back for yet another video. In this video, I'm going to be sharing how you can completely reinvent your life. Take your life from where it is now to wherever it is that you want to be and become completely unrecognizable. First of all, before we do that, it's important for us to distinguish the differences between rebranding and a makeover. You see, people think that rebranding is the same as a makeover, but that's not it. Yes, of course, rebranding, right, will probably, depending on your journey, involve a bit of a makeover here and there. Probably like the way that you look now isn't the aesthetic that you want. That's not how you want to look and so forth in terms of, the person that you want to become. Rebranding is a holistic transformation that goes beyond physical appearance. It also involves mindset shifts, emotional growth, and life direction. So in this video, we're going to go deep, right? We're not just going to take it at surface level. For example, right, a makeover would just include things like, you need to glow up. For you to glow up, for example, a makeover would just include things like probably you need to bath more often, you need to use fragrances that go with your skin and so forth, with your chemistry and so forth, right? But beyond that, do you know that the things that you actually take in contribute to the way that you smell? They contribute to the smell of your sweat, right? So this is how deep we're going to go. We're not just going to go surface level, we're going to go deep, right? So let's just get into it. Number one, do a SWOT analysis. So SWOT analysis uses this grid over here where you basically look at your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Why is this important? It's important so that you'll be able to identify your areas of transformation. So, for example, you've got your strengths, right? You've got things that you know that you're strong on these. These are the things that you're good at. These are the things that make you unique. These are the things that make you stand out. These are the things that you like about yourself, right? With these things, you don't just want to leave them at that. You want to improve them. You want to make sure that you elevate, right? You always want to leave room for growth. You don't want to just be stagnant and say, okay, I'm very good at this, right? So I'm going to leave it at that. You always want to improve. So that's how you're going to look at your strengths. Look at your strengths and ask yourself, how can you elevate these strengths? How can you make sure that these strengths, they are amplified, they become bigger, they become better, right? Now, in terms of your weaknesses, you're going to ask yourself, what areas am I lacking in? What areas do I fall short on, right? What areas do I need to improve on? So it's important for you to ask yourself this because this will help you to identify your pain points. You see, when you identify your weaknesses, you get a clear picture of what you need to urgently work on, right? Things that you need to make sure that you sort out, you need to change, right? For example, probably your weakness is waking up early, right? But now there's a trickling effect. Waking up early, right, or not waking up early will affect the rest of your day. Think of it this way. Probably you want to get a lot of things done in a day. You've got many responsibilities, right? So if you wake up at 9 a.m., that means you've got less hours in the day to get the things done, right? So identify your areas of weaknesses and then ask yourself, how can I make sure that I move, right? How can I shift from where I am currently to where I need to be? What do I need to change in terms of my weaknesses? If it's something that, there's some weaknesses that you completely cannot change. For example, let's say you stutter, right? Or probably you mumble or you eat your words. Like sometimes I do that, right? But that's something that you cannot change. Sometimes, yes, you can try to work on it, but you can only work on it until a certain level. There's a level that you just cannot pass, right? So what you can decide to do is, okay, what am I going to do to make sure that I leverage this weakness to make it something that is unique about myself, right? What do I do? Probably like with me, some of the times when I eat my words, I don't edit that out. Why? Because that makes me unique. In the sense that to you, when you're listening to me, it shows that I'm authentic, right? I am owning who I am. I understand that, okay, I sometimes eat my words, right? And that's not entirely a bad thing. So sometimes you may actually then decide, okay, how can I leverage on this weakness to make it a unique selling point? Number two, you can actually say, okay, I've got this weakness, but what am I going to do in terms of the other areas on the grid, such as your strengths and your opportunities, to make sure that you minimize the impact of this weakness? But still, for you to be able to think about how you need to leverage on, amplifying your strengths and your opportunities, for you to minimize that weakness, you need to actually first have identified it, right? And then you also have your opportunities. What about your environment can you take advantage of to make sure that you open doors for yourself, right? To make sure that you shift from where you are to where you need to be. For example, probably where you work, right? There's no transport that goes there and you don't have a car. But you actually want to lose weight at the same time. So maybe what you can say is, okay, that's actually an opportunity for me to get a workout in, right? Probably I'm going to just stick through it and walk from work, and I'm going to lose weight in the process. Sometimes if you don't carry heavy stuff, you can actually decide, okay, I'm going to put whatever it is that I've got in my backpack, I'm going to put on my back, I'm going to run. So that means you're going to carry stuff that will enable you to run after work, and in doing so you're actually losing weight in the process. So that's you taking advantage of an opportunity that is in front of you. Then you also have threats, right? What is it that is threatening who you want to be? What is it that is threatening even who you are currently, right? You need to be able to identify all this. So probably you want to be, someone who is influential, someone who is respected, someone who has dignity, right? But at the same time, you've got habits that people of influence have no business having. People who have got dignity have no business having, right? Probably you're someone who, gets drunk crazy, right? That's something that is threatening you, right? It is threatening the person that you want to become. It is even threatening you now, Sha, right? So you identify all these things that are threatening you. Sometimes the threats may not be something that is internal, can be external, something about your environment, something about, your system, something about where you work or whatever. The people around you, right? Identify all these threats. It will help you to identify and get clear on the areas that need transformation. Number two, focus on areas of high impact. What do I mean by this? So now that you've identified your areas of transformation, they might be many, right? Because the strengths will produce opportunities for areas of transformation. The weaknesses will also produce opportunities for areas of transformation. Opportunities the same, threats the same, right? So you've got a long list by now of things that you need to probably work on, right? So now what you need to do is identify areas that are of high impact and focus on those. What are these areas? These are areas that, number one, it could be something that if you achieve it, it will also lead to this. I work in the development space, so I'm going to give an example that is inclined to that, but just follow me, okay? So let's say, for example, you've got a rural area, right, where most of the households are low-income households, right? And you also notice that in that same area, child marriages are, prevalent, are highly prevalent. So what you can decide to do is, okay, what I'm going to do is address the poverty problem, right? After addressing the poverty problem, you notice that the impact of addressing that, of making sure that there's, you increase the income of households, you make sure that there are employment opportunities, you make sure that, the income generating activities that are happening in that area, you notice that at some point, the child marriages in that area would decrease. Why? Because most of the child marriages in that area were probably caused by the fact that households were low-income households, so they are poor, right? So because of the low income, the parents in those households would most likely marry off their children in order to get money, or even just to let the burden, like to loosen the burden. Imagine if you've got a family of 8, right? And only one person is working and they're getting minimum wage. So that means that in that family, there's a huge burden of mouths to feed. Some families may actually decide, some parents may actually decide, even if I don't gain anything from this child getting married, I'm just going to take her away so that at least I've got one less mouth to feed. you know. So that's the same thing. You can identify something that if you do this, it will lead to this. It will lead to an improvement in this area. You know, like I mentioned in the previous point, where you can identify a strength that will minimize the impact of a weakness that you have. So that's something that you can leverage on. You can identify such areas of transformation and focus on those. Then another thing that you can do in this area is you can actually identify which areas that if you transform them, they have the most weight. So it may not be something that, you know, leads to transformation in other areas, but it's something that, you know what, it's a big achievement. That type of area you need to focus on. So make sure that you use those two to identify the areas that you need to focus on that are high priority and focus on exactly those. Number 3, let go of limiting beliefs. Now, for you to let go of limiting beliefs, you actually need to identify what limiting beliefs you have, right? Identify the negative thoughts that you have about yourself, about your ability to improve, and about anything that you want to achieve. So for you to identify them, sometimes it actually takes you writing them down. Write it down. I believe that I'm not good enough. I believe that I can't do this. I believe that I can't do this. I believe that I can't achieve this. I'm not capable enough to do this, right? Write them down. Sometimes, you know what, the things that you believe about yourself, you may not know them until you write them down. So write them down. So after writing them down, what you need to do is reframe your mindset. So for each negative thought, counter it with a positive affirmation. For instance, if you said a lot of I can'ts, replace that with I am capable of, right? And then complete the sentence. So counter each negative thought with a positive affirmation. And don't just leave it at, you know, what you wrote. Actually make sure that every morning you say this to yourself. You read it. Read your notes with the positive affirmations. Say them to yourself. Every chance that you get, say those positive affirmations. It makes sure that your mind is refocused. Your mind is shifted to make sure that you're capable of achieving what you want to achieve because you've got the right mindset for it. Number 4, create a new identity blueprint. So first you need to outline your new self, right? For you to do this, take a moment to visualize who do you want to become. Like, visualize who you are by the end of the year, right? Meet her, describe her. Describe how she is. Describe her routines. Describe how she talks. Describe how she dresses. Describe how she smells. Get to the very nitty-gritties, like the smallest details. Be as detailed as possible when it comes to outlining who you want to become. After doing that, set actionable goals that relates to who you want to become. For example, if you want to be someone who is very confident, who is eloquent, who is well-spoken, you can set actionable goals such as public speaking or networking. So you're going to then start to ask yourself, okay, what opportunities do I have for me to actually speak publicly? Whenever an opportunity comes or whenever you identify one, raise up your hand and take that opportunity, right? Even if it's like in class, right? You want to be someone who is eloquent. Take that opportunity to be the one who presents the group work. You know, it's as simple as that. When you're in a meeting, make sure that you identify the people that you want to talk to and actually go to them and talk to them, right? That's part of you learning how to speak eloquently. You're learning how to be confident. You're learning how to be bold and being able to step up, right? Number 5, constantly develop yourself. It goes without saying that this person that you want to become has a certain set of skills that you currently do not have, has a certain way of life that you currently do not have. So for you to be able to step into that person, you need to develop yourself. You need to develop your skills. You need to improve yourself constantly, not just once. This isn't just a one-time thing. This is something that you need to constantly do to make sure that you improve yourself. Improve yourself in such a manner that stepping into this person, this identity, becomes something that is easy for you, something that is natural. Probably the woman that you want to become by the end of the year is someone who is well informed, someone who has a lot of knowledge, someone who is able to add depth to a conversation. What you can do is find free courses online. I've mentioned Coursera before. I mentioned Coursera actually in my last video, so make sure that you actually check that video out. Coursera, right, has free courses that you can enroll into just to broaden your mind so that you're knowledgeable on different topics, so that, you know what, whenever a conversation comes up, you won't just be It's very important for networking, Sha, to know a lot of things. Imagine a conversation comes up when you're trying to network with someone who, you really need this person's attention. You really need this person to be your ally. They mention something and you have absolutely nothing to contribute when it comes to that. That's not good. So sometimes, learning isn't just something that is rigid, like taking a course. You can simply watch YouTube videos and make sure that you broaden your mind. So don't just consume content that you like, content that is, what normally interests you. Look at other topics. Find out what's happening in the world. Research news, just so that you can be able to add value to a conversation. Then of course I can't talk about developing your skills without talking about Skillshare. It's just impossible. Make sure that you download Skillshare, right? I'll put the link in my description box. Download Skillshare. Get onto it, man. There are a lot of courses there. There are a lot of programs there that you can actually take, right? They even put them in learning bundles. Maybe you want to learn how to code. Maybe you want to learn how to knit. Maybe you want to learn how to, effectively and eloquently speak in public. Whatever the case is, whatever you want to learn, you'll most likely find a course on that on Skillshare. And guess what? The first month that you enroll, you actually get yourself a month free. So go ahead and take advantage of that while that promotion still lasts. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do comment down below. I'd really love to know your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you're going to be practicing, what you're going to be, working on in relation to what I shared. And if you've got other things that that really help when you want to reinvent yourself, please do share. Remember, we are a group of friends here. We want to grow together. We want to make sure that by the end of the year, we have completely rebranded. So please do share. If you like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Share the video, guys. Share it. Just take the link, share it on your status. People will see it and people will join the community. If you haven't subscribed, please make sure that you're subscribed, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.